Hey guys, welcome. Man, I'm so excited to be able to introduce you to this new endeavor we're taking on. Nothing major, but we believe it's exciting. It's something I've been looking forward to for a long time. And so I'll take a moment to tell you about it. Essentially, what we wanted to do is come together and create an online community of sorts. You can call it a podcast, call it a whatever you want to call it. We really haven't put a definition as to what it's going to be yet. We just know that God's put it on our heart to go ahead and make content and utilize all of the abilities and all of the technology that we have today that we quite frankly take for granted. If we're being honest, we have the ability at the click of a button to reach millions upon millions of people in an instant. Something that we never had in the past. And so one thing that I've been challenged on in this year is to take the abilities that I've been given and the gifts I've been given and to go ahead and create an online community and an online resource that would be great for anyone, really. So this is tailored for everybody and anybody, especially if you are somebody who's interested in the Bible, interested in Jesus and Christianity and what it looks like to follow God. This is the page for you, and this is the video for you. You clicked on the right one today, so welcome. Sorry you're stuck with me, but this is what you get. So anyways, with that being said, I wanted to introduce you to the spiritual beggars. And again, what's it going to be? It's going to be a mixture of everything. It's going to be Bible teaching. It's going to be theology. It's going to be culture. It's going to be discussions upon every topic you can think of as they come up. It's going to be podcast style content, devotional style content. It'll be everything from videos to images to blogs and everything in between. You know, whatever comes to our heart, we're going to just try it, and we're just going to take risks. We're just going to see what happens. So we are excited, and we really believe that this is going to be a great tool for you, your friends, your family. So whatever you got to do, like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever it is that you do to give your digital, I got your back, we're going for it. Please do that and join us on this journey. And really, this page is, before we get ahead of ourselves, this page is for everybody. If you're a Christian looking to grow in your faith, you're a Christian who just likes, good content and you want to fill your feed with something other than the craziness of what we all get on a day-to-day basis, this is for you. If you're a Christian who's new to the faith and you truly, genuinely want to grow, you have questions, you just have an appetite for the Bible, you have an appetite to learn who God is, who Jesus is, who the Holy Spirit is, then this page is perfect for you. And maybe you're a Christian who you just have it all figured out. You're a theologian, you have your doctrinal master's degree, and you just want to critique us. Hey, we're here for that too. We're down for it. So whoever you are, whatever category you fit, welcome. We would love to have you. And also, maybe you're someone who doesn't even believe in God, or you don't believe in Jesus, or whatever the case may be, and you're just searching, discovering, you're just curious. Hey, again, this is the place for you. We really believe that the Bible, as it says, that when the Word of God goes forth, it always does what it's intended to do. It's like the rain that falls to the earth. Never does it return void. And so we believe that as we just put the Bible forward, as we just talk about Jesus and we talk about the gospel and we just begin to talk about it in a way that makes sense for real life and what we're going through, that it's going to make impact. And so we believe that. And so we're excited to see what the fruits of that are when it comes to this page. And so stick around. Let's see what happens. We're excited. And so naturally, what you might be asking is, okay, what is the spiritual beggars and why that name? It doesn't make sense to me. It's a little bit, I guess it's a little weird. And I would agree with you. Spiritual beggars is kind of an interesting name. What does it mean to be a spiritual beggar? What is a spiritual beggar? Why that name? Why does it matter? Or is it just trying to be trendy and cool? And I'll tell you, it's really not trying to be trendy or cool to me. It's really the defining way I view my life is that I really do believe that I am a spiritual beggar. And I really do believe that when you fall in love with Jesus and you follow Jesus and you really open up the Bible and see what it has to say, and as you begin to learn what the gospel is, that you will inevitably become a spiritual beggar and you will fit into that category. We're going to explain that in just a moment, so stick with us. As we begin to look at the idea and what really sparked on my mind and on my heart this name, the spiritual beggars, I want us to go ahead and look at Matthew chapter 5. There's a cool section of the Bible here where we have the longest recorded sermon of Jesus. And so this is going to be a section of the Bible longer than any other section you'll find, where we can just see Jesus preaching and teaching crowds of people for 3 chapters. And so I want you to jump in with me and check out some things here, because there's some really cool things, some really cool insight that will hopefully help you capture what it is to be a spiritual beggar and what that means. So anyways, as we get here to Matthew chapter 5, I want you to focus in on one particular section of Matthew chapter 5, and that is verse 6. So Matthew chapter 5 and verse 6, this is what it says. It says this: "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled." So it's an interesting statement. We're here in the beginning of the sermon, and Jesus starts off by saying all of these beatitudes, or in other words, all of these sentiments and statements about who is going to be blessed in God's kingdom. He talks about blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those who mourn, blessed are the meek, blessed are the merciful, blessed are the pure in heart, blessed are the peacemakers, and on and on and on it goes. And so one of the statements that stood out to me here is, number one, that Jesus is talking about who's blessed in God's kingdom. Now again, that's what we want to talk about, right? Because that's a question that's on our heart, and that's why we want to jump into this topic. Who's blessed in God's kingdom? And what does it look like to follow Jesus? What did Jesus say? Because if we want to know what it looks like to follow Jesus, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, but I would say let's go to the source. And if we have the opportunity to jump into the longest sermon recorded from Jesus and get to hear from his mouth, I say let's do it. And let's see what he has to say, because everybody has an idea. Everybody has a stereotype. Everybody has a notion of what they think it means to follow Jesus. And so that's what I want to talk about. That's really what this page is going to exist for. And so as we begin to look at what it means to be a spiritual beggar, we're going to start here. And hopefully this makes sense for you guys. So again, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Now, this was weird to me growing up when I used to hear this statement, because that's not who I would think would be blessed in God's kingdom. What I would think would be blessed is if Jesus said, blessed are those who have righteousness. Blessed are those who have obtained righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom. No, he doesn't say that. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst. Now, guys, I don't know about you guys, if you've ever truly been hungry. Again, we're in America, so take that with a grain of salt, right? No one's ever truly been hungry here, at least if you're, where I'm from. There's food everywhere. But anyways, we've all had those days where we've worked through lunch, or we've just had whatever streak is going on in our life, that it's come to a point where we're truly hungry, and you literally can say, man, I'm starving, and if I don't get some food, it's about to go down. And so we've all been there to some degree. And when you're hungry, it's probably one of the worst feelings in the world, right? That's where we get that statement, man, I'm hangry. In other words, I'm fringing between I need a burger or I'm going to murder you. So we all know where that is, and we've all been there. And then also he says to be thirsty. So those who hunger and thirst. And again, if you've been thirsty, it's not fun. Because when I think of hunger and I think of thirst, what I think about is a lacking. Because if I had a burger to eat, I'm all of a sudden now I'm satisfied. I'm no longer hungry. If I had a cup of water to drink, all of a sudden I am satisfied, I'm filled, and I'm no longer thirsty. And so this idea that you hunger and you thirst for righteousness is ultimately this idea that you desire something that you don't have. And you desire something that is not on the inside of you, that has not yet filled you, that has not yet satisfied your heart. And so it got me thinking, right? Because there's a story I'll tell you real quick. When we were younger, probably 11 or 12, one thing at 11 or 12 that I realized that we lack is a little word called wisdom. And so what we did one time is we decided, we had this great idea. We're going to wake up in the morning and we're going to get our bikes, and we're going to get a bottle of water, and we're going to go on an 8-hour journey to explore all of the unknown parts of where we lived. And so back in that day where we lived, there was not many houses, and so truly it was like living in the country, and we loved it. So we went for this long bike ride, fully equipped right for the day with a bottle of water, a Pop-Tart, and our bikes. And once you know it, not too long into the journey, we're far enough in that we can't just turn around, because that's already a trip back and we've realized that we've ran out of water. And again, you're 11 and 12. You don't plan for those things, right? That's why we have moms that think way beyond what we think, and husbands, that's true of us too sometimes, if we're being honest. And so we had this great idea as we're riding along, mouths dry, sweating profusely, and just thinking we're probably going to die soon, of realizing we hear running water. We look off to the side of the road. There's this little stream, janky little stream. Terrible idea. I would not advise anyone to do this, but we were desperate. We were thirsty. We were hurting. And so what we decided to do is take our bottles, again, wisdom. And there's a little bit of wisdom. We didn't throw the bottles away. So we took the bottles. We go to this stream. We start to fill up our bottles with this stream water that we don't know the source. We don't know what's in it. We don't know where it comes from. We know nothing about this water. But we're going to drink it because we're thirsty. And I have this idea, and I said, whoa, wait a minute. Tell my buddy, I think we have to filter this water. Again, I'm not thinking about flesh-eating diseases. I'm not thinking about germs. I'm not thinking about any of that. What I'm thinking about is I don't want sand and bugs and junk in my water. And if it looks clear, I think we're good. And so we get the bottles, we pour them out, we double filter with our shirts. We go ahead and we dip the bottles into the stream, and we fill up our water. Check it out. It looks clear enough for me. We drink it. It felt like the best water we've ever had in our lives. I am happy to report none of us got sick. We made it. Again, this is not survival advice. Get you a life straw. Don't do that. We were lucky. So anyways, all that to say that when you've been truly hungry and you've been truly thirsty, it's not a fun feeling, because it's in those moments that you realize that you lack something that you need. And anyways, as we continue in this sermon, I'm going to skip through just little bits and pieces and parts because I want you to get this picture of what I'm saying. But Jesus says all kinds of different statements, all kinds of profound and challenging statements that were contrary to the way that the people thought. I mean, he says statements like, you should be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. What? Hold on, Jesus, did you hear what you just said? You told us that we need to be perfect like our Father in heaven is perfect. Do you understand what you said, Jesus? Do you know me? Do you know how many times I failed getting up this morning? Much less in my life. And he says statements like, you've heard it said you should not murder. Everybody relaxes. Oh, okay. Yeah, we know. Don't kill someone. Don't do that. That's bad. We get it. We are on board with that. But he says, if you've even been angry with someone in your heart, you're guilty of the same. And then he goes on to talk about something along the lines of adultery. And he says, look, you've heard it said that you should not commit adultery. Again, everybody's saying, we got it, Jesus. Yes, we've learned that since we were young. Don't cheat on your spouse. We got it. That's bad. That's a no-no. Do not go out with another woman or another man if you are married. Got it. So everybody in the crowd will be tracking with Jesus. But again, Jesus says a shocker. He says, but if you've even committed lustful intent in your heart, you're guilty of the same. What? Jesus, you realize what you're saying, right? Because the people in this crowd, they grew up religious. They grew up knowing the law. They grew up knowing all sorts of different things when it comes to church and religion and being a Jew and what it is to be a follower of God. And so to them, they had been taught their whole lives, look, what you do matters on the exterior. Obey the law. Don't steal. Don't kill. Don't cheat on your spouse. You check the checklist and you're good. And Jesus was saying, no. You're not just good because of what you've done, but your goodness is going to be evaluated based upon who you are in the inside and the secret most parts of you. And so we begin to get this idea here that Jesus is saying the standard of God that you've been taught your whole life is wrong. And this goes for culture today. Everybody has an idea and a notion of what it means to be a Christian, what it means to follow Jesus, what it means to follow God. And so ultimately what people have done is they've come up with predisposed ideas in their mind based upon culture, based upon your upbringing, based upon your church maybe, based upon religion, so on and so forth, we have this predisposed idea of what it means to be a Christian, what it means to follow God. And Jesus is taking this and he's flipping it on its head and he's saying, no, it's not about what you do morally on the exterior. It's far deeper than that. It's who you are at the very deepest core of your heart, your desires, that secret place. And he says some more shocking things. I mean, there's a ton. I would suggest you read it, Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7, and to see all that Jesus said, because it's powerful and it's challenging. And he says, you know the scribes and the Pharisees, and unless your righteousness exceeds them, it's not good enough. Again, for us today, your pastor, your priest, the Pope, whoever it is that you deem to be a religious leader in your life or in culture that you've followed, take the idea and the notion of who you think is the most quote unquote holy person, and he's saying, even them, if you don't exceed their standard of living, their standard of measuring up to God, then you've missed it. So, hold on, Jesus, what are you saying? What are you saying? I want to wrap this up here. I want you to go to Matthew chapter 7, and I want you to look now. We're going to skip now to the end of his sermon where he's beginning to wrap this sermon up, and he's going to say a few more shocking things that are going to break down some preconceived notions. In Matthew chapter 7 and verse 21, he says this, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only those who do the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many are going to say to me on that day, 'Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? And in your name did we not drive out demons? And in your name perform many miracles?' And he's going to say, 'Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, evildoers.' In other words, depart from me. I never knew you." What an interesting statement here. Because he's saying in the last days there's going to come a group of people, and they're going to come to him and they know his name, Lord, Lord. They know how to approach him. They know his title. And they're going to begin to give them their resume of what they've done in the name of God. Jesus, we prophesied. We did miracles in your name. We drove out demons in your name. Many miracles, not just miracles. I love it. We performed many miracles in your name. In other words, Jesus, look, we've gone to church. Not only did we go to church, we helped found the church. We were serving in the church. We gave to the church. We gave to needy. We gave to charities. Jesus, have you seen our resume? Have you seen what we have done? Can we get the key to heaven, please? Because we're in, right? What's up? Now, Jesus, you know us. You know this. And he's going to say, "Depart from me. I never knew you." How interesting. Because when we think of culture's idea, and maybe even your idea of what it is to follow Jesus, do we not think about what we've done, our resume, or maybe what we don't do? Maybe you look and you think that your right standing with God is based upon what you do or what you don't do. Well, I read my Bible, I pray, I go to church. I'm a good person. I'm a decent person. I have never killed anyone. I've never cheated on my spouse. I've never done anything that's not beyond normal. I'm a good person. And Jesus doesn't dismiss them on the fact of what they've done. He doesn't dismiss them based upon their resume. Jesus doesn't say, "Depart from me, you didn't do enough. Depart from me, that was not the right miracle. Depart from me, you did not give enough. Depart from me, you were not holy enough. Depart from me, you did not pray enough." He doesn't say, "Depart from me," based upon what they've done or what they have not done. He says, "Depart from me, I never knew you." We never had a relationship. Wow. I want you to take that thought. Who's rejected in God's kingdom? In other words, who is not blessed in Jesus' kingdom? Well, it's the spiritually entitled. In other words, the spiritually not rich, but the quote unquote, they think they're rich spiritually. They think that they've made it spiritually. And so they believe they're owed something. God, I have done everything that I was asked to do by my leader, by my priest, by my pastor. God, I have met the standard. I have met the quota I should get in. And not a single thing that it had to do with their relationship with Jesus. And what Jesus is saying, it's always been about the heart. I don't know you. We don't have relationship. It would be the same thing as saying, if you were to ask your spouse or ask somebody you love dearly, or if they were to ask, better yet, let's flip it. If they were to ask you, hey, we're going to give you a checklist of all of the things that your loved one does for you. We've come together with a list. We've asked them, and from the deepest parts of who they are, they've answered this question. And they can check the checklist. They're nice to me. They cook for me. They're generous to me. They're sweet to me. They're kind to me. All the things that you like to have done for you, or you like to, in all the ways you like to be treated. And if those were checked off, everyone, but the final box was a box that said they love me and they care for me with all of their heart. If that was the empty box, how then does it change things? It changes things, doesn't it? Because we don't let this fly with anybody in our lives. With human relationships, we do not let this fly. You can't just do things for us and check a checklist. That's not how friendship works. That's not how relationship works. That's not how marriage works, right? We don't let that fly in any of our human relationships. If you have somebody in your life that you've allowed into your home, around your kids, around your family, into the innermost parts of your life, and you find out that they really don't love you, don't care for you, they just love the things you do for them, that changes things, doesn't it? But somehow, some way, we've allowed culture and whatever it is to define following God and following Jesus for us. And what we've done is we've flipped that, and we now think that somehow we please God based upon our list and our resume, and we think that we can skip the part of relationship. And guys, I'm here to tell you that what Jesus is saying in the Sermon on the Mount is two very opposite things from what we've been taught traditionally growing up. Who's rejected in God's kingdom? Who's not blessed in God's kingdom? The spiritually entitled, those who think that they've earned God's righteousness based upon what they've done, based upon their merit. And who's blessed in God's kingdom? Go back to Matthew chapter 5 and verse 6. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for a righteousness that is not their own. Stark difference. You know who's blessed in God's kingdom? The spiritual beggar. The one who knows that if I don't get bread from you, Jesus, if I don't get water from you, Jesus, if I don't get righteousness and holiness and mercy and grace from you, Jesus, then I'm toast. I have nothing apart from the bread giver. And so in other words, a spiritual beggar is, we're just all, and what I am is I'm just I'm a beggar pointing people to the bread giver. Because I've found that dead, dry religion, do-goodism, humanism, trying to do it on my own, making my own way, making my own path, trying to earn my righteousness and earn God's love and earn God's favor based upon what I do or what I don't do is not the answer. In fact, I've learned that in the gospel, that the gospel says this. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 21 says this. For he who knew no sin became sin, so that we, me and you, might become the righteousness of God in him. That Jesus, perfect, righteous, holy, did no wrong, did none of our wrong, did none of my wrong, took my wrongdoing, took my failures, my shortcomings, and my sin, my rebellion, put that on himself, and gives me in exchange his righteousness, his acceptance before God. And we're adopted into the family of God, not based upon what we've done, not based upon what we have not done, but based upon what Jesus has done. And so, guys, what's a spiritual beggar? A spiritual beggar is one who knows that apart from the grace and mercy of Jesus, we have nothing. But here's the beautiful news of the gospel, that Jesus is here, and he does have bread to offer, and he does have drink to offer, and that hunger and that thirst on the inside of you, guess what? Can be filled in Jesus. And we're going to talk about that in way more depth as we go on. And there's going to be so much as we open up the Bible. Hey, this Bible, guys, this is a book that ultimately is a collection of many different authors over many different years that culminates into one story that somehow all intertwines and threads into the story of Jesus redeeming mankind to himself. About a rebellious people, a broken people, a people who try to do things their own way and mess up and miss it and fail, and about a God who sends himself in flesh, Jesus, who does things perfectly. And it's about Jesus who comes wrapped in flesh, God who comes down to earth wrapped in flesh and does things perfectly for the glory of God and for the good of us so that we could receive. And so where we missed it, he nailed it. Where we have failed, he succeeded. Where we have not been, he has been. Where we could not walk, he walked. Where we could not suffer well, he suffered well. Jesus does what only Jesus can do. He lives the life that me and you can't live. And he gives us the righteousness that we cannot earn. And now we have a calling, and now we have a grace, and now we have so many beautiful things in our life that we've been given through Jesus and his grace. And now you can be a world changer. Now you can step into a calling that's far bigger than anything you can imagine. And so guys, join us on this journey. We have two passions here. We love Jesus. We love the Bible. And we believe that when you put those two together and we talk about it boldly and courageously, and we begin to just open this up, that it's going to talk to culture, it's going to talk to your life, your pains, your struggles, your successes, that there's not a part of your life and a part of this culture and a part of all of the craziness that's going on in this world that these two things do not touch, affect, and change for his glory. So we love you guys. Welcome to the Spiritual Beggars. Let's do this.